you, sir. Yes. And so 15 years in the banking industry, had an absolutely incredible job, and things took a turn for the worse all at one time. Have you ever been in a season where everything is going pretty much okay, and then all at one time, things just begin to just look a whole lot different than what you had planned? And so during that time, you know, I had my baby father left me. I found out I was pregnant as well. I already had a child, one on the way. And, you know, things just, best friends falling apart, you know, family members not really in a position to support me. And, you know, I got myself into crazy amounts of debt as well. Now, can you imagine being a big banker, giving people advice about where they're supposed to be and how they're supposed to manage their money and how they're supposed to live, and behind the scenes? Now, ladies, I'm gonna just be honest. On Instagram, you could not tell anything. I was fleeky. My posts looked on point. I looked like I was that girl. And yeah, behind closed doors, I was literally in pieces, And I had to make some decisions about what I was going to do. Was I going to carry on pretending that things were okay whilst I'm getting myself deeper into debt, deeper into, you know, trauma, deeper into you know, more pain, more anxiety, and things were just getting more and more out of control. And I don't know about you, but you know, things are not good for you, but you still keep going back. You still keep listening to people that don't have the advice that you desire. You still stay in a relationship that you know isn't serving you. And guys, by the way, I was being physically abused, mentally abused, verbally abused, financially abused, and I kept staying 15 years in a relationship that served me no good. And I began to get low self-esteem. In fact, I didn't even love myself enough to believe that I deserve more. So when opportunity came my way, when people were nice to me, I always thought that there's a catch. There's something that, you know, this can't be right for me. There's something that must be going wrong, or there must be, you know, there must be a catch out of it. So when good people came my way, I'll push them away. When opportunity came my way, I pushed it away. When I received a compliment, I don't know about you ladies, I'm just being honest, I couldn't even compliment others because the paradigm in my mind was, you know, my mom taught me we had to be the best. And so if I celebrated another woman, that meant that I was downgrading myself. And I had to learn not only how to love myself, I had to learn that I had to love others. That actually another woman that's being successful isn't a competition to me, it's an inspiration to me. And I can grow and I can learn from their strength. And so fast forward, my decision, you know, really was a transition for me. And I want to just really highlight this to say, what decisions do you have to make in this season? You know, what parts are not going too well? What parts are the things you want to change? And I want you to write the word down, decision, because it's a decision December, ladies. And we really got to decide what it is that we want for our lives and how it is that we really want to progress. And so I made decisions. And the moment I made a decision, things and people began to come into my way. Okay. And so that was the catalyst of, you know, things changing for me. You know, I then had £1 million property portfolio, went into business, you know, into entrepreneurship, found, you know, the blessed network marketing, began coaching, and, you know, my life completely changed from there. Now, was it easy? No, it wasn't. But guess what? There was something about just making a decision that really put me in position to catalyst myself into a place where I really wanted. And, you know, being a part of this industry, this business, guys, I've been able to meet some incredible people as well. And one of the ladies that I want to bring on right now, who's going to also share just a little bit of background about herself as well, and, you know, some of the successes she has, is a woman that I've admired from afar for a very long time. It's a woman that is, you know, she's a wife, she's a mom, she's a business beast, but also as well, she just knows how to get things done. And I think there is, you know, power in her story when it comes to decision making, when it comes to making decisions and moves that, you know, maybe most people will be scared to do. And so just put some 777s in the chat for our incredible Angela Cruikshank on the call right now. Angela, what's up, girl?
What's going on, everybody? Hopefully you guys can hear me loud and clear. I am so excited. Can we drop some 777s in the chat for Nikki as well? Just sharing a little bit about, you know, who she is and what she's been able to do. Are you guys getting feedback from me?
No, you're all good here, Ange.
Okay, perfect, perfect. You know, just incredible hearing her story, how she's gone through all of these adversities that many women like herself would have been taken out of the game, and how she was able to navigate and pivot and now become such a success in this industry and in life and in general with her children and her family. And that's what makes this so incredible, is we get to partner with women like Nikki, women like Sarah. You're going to hear a little bit about her story. I know her story is completely powerful. It's those defining moments in our lives, ladies, that make us who we are. Now, there's not one woman on this call that I know, and I know we got some guys who peeked in. I see it. And I'm getting messages that the lines is maxed out. Guys, we're on Instagram. So go ahead and share the Instagram link. They definitely want to hear what's going to happen here. We have the line is open on Instagram. Share that so that folks who are saying the line is maxed out, they can get on. But everybody has a defining moment. And women, every one of you on this call and those guys who peeked in here, I know that you had defining moments to happen in your life, that things took a turn and everything just shifted for you. And you've got to recognize that moment in your life. You know, for Nikki, it was when her husband abandoned her and her children. For so many of us, it's different things: a death in the family, lost loved ones, a job loss, sickness, all types of things. But here's what I know to be true. Whatever doesn't break you is what makes you. Whatever doesn't break you is what makes you. Whatever the test is not even for you. It's a testimony for another woman that might be on this call. So we should never be ashamed of what we had to go through. Some of us, we're at the end of 2022, and we're looking back. We're taking an aerial view of what took place in 2022, and we haven't hit the goals, or we haven't accomplished the dreams, or we haven't gotten to the networks of women that could push us and stretch us. See, ladies, anything that gets stretched can never go back to its original form. That's why we're excited to be a part of a network like this, where we don't allow you to play small here. We don't allow you to let your adversities take you out. And that's what's so exciting about this. And so here we are looking back at 2022, and we're saying, how do we make 2023 a better year for us? How do we allow 2023 to be the best year for us? I believe, and my coach and mentor has said that David Immoniti has said, 2023 is the year of the miracle. But here's what I can tell you. If you don't have a vehicle, if you don't have a blueprint, and you don't have a plan on how to see these miracles come to pass, then guess what? It's just a dream and a hope. What we have to offer and what we have recognized is that we've connected with a platform and with individuals and with women, moms, boss ladies, that have made a decision that we're going to follow blueprints of individuals that have gone before us, where they take back control of their lives, where they're living life on their own terms, where they're making 6 and 7 figures. If I tell you guys my story, I am no different than anyone else. I come from a corporate background where they told me, go to school, get a good education so I could get a good job with benefits. And I did that. Worked for corporate America over 20 plus years. I know I look 21, it's all good, right? It's all about how we feel. Don't worry about the number. But I did what they told me to do. And what I recognized was that wasn't working for me. I had to change the direction of where I was going. And then I locked on with an individual that said, if you can follow what it is that I'm about to share with you, then guess what? You're going to be able to have the life that you desire. And that's exactly what I made a decision to do, guys. I made a decision that I was going to follow the instructions of someone who went before me. They're saying I'm getting a lot of feedback. Let me know if I'm getting that feedback, guys, or if it's somebody else. Hopefully you guys can hear me on Instagram. Okay, there's echo on Instagram. Hopefully you're hearing it now. Let me know if you're hearing it on Instagram. You're hearing me perfectly good now. And on Zoom. Can't hear clearly. Okay. If you can hear me on Instagram, drop a 777. You can hear me now. Can you hear good? Perfect. Okay, I guess we got it going on, right? But they told me that this is what was going to work. Go to school, get a good education so I could get a good job with benefits. And I did that. And I worked for corporate America, made six figures, thought I was rocking. And then I had a defining moment happen in my life. My husband and I decided we want to start a family, had 4 miscarriages before my son Joshua came. He is a miracle child. Everybody told me it couldn't happen. It wasn't going to happen. But God told me to stand on his word that it would happen. And when he came, my job that I had worked so hard, made them millions of dollars, helped them make millions of dollars, came to me and said, listen, you got to come back to work, even though you have this sick child, came premature 2 months early. You got to come back to work. And I said, I can't do that. I can't leave my son, this child that after 4 miscarriages, I can't just leave him and just give, go back to abandon him to go work this job when I knew what I wanted and desired. And they said, okay, why don't we do this? Why don't we allow you to work from home? And I thought that was a good idea, because how many of you know if you have children, you could work from home? That's like a plus. But I recognized very easily that they didn't really want me. They wanted what I had to offer. And that let me know that I was valuable, that I was worth something more than what they were telling me that I was even worth. Guys, I went back and I made a decision. I was going to quit that job. People thought I was crazy. How are you going to leave a 6-figure job? What are you going to do? I didn't know what I was going to do, but I knew I was going to figure it out. Because here's the one thing that I know. I know that the manual and the person that I follow, some of you know them. Some of you know, you read a book, you buy one, you get 66 free. It's called Bible. He said, you can do anything. You can do anything through Christ who strengthens you. I knew that who I serve was going to allow me to do anything that I wanted to do if I could put my mind to do it. And guys, I went on and I quit that job, walked away from that 6-figure salary. Like I said, my friends and family said, are you crazy? But let me tell you guys this, I was making 6 figures a year, and there were times being part of this industry where I was making 6 figures a month. And I say that because you're no different than me. What I did was I made a decision that in this year, the year that I made that decision, I was not going to live in mediocrity anymore. I was not going to sit back on the sideline and clap for everybody else and wonder, how are they doing it? I was going to ask questions. I was going to humble myself. See, humble doesn't mean that there's a characteristic trait that's wrong with you. It's recognizing that you don't have something and you could submit under leadership that can help you to get to where it is that you're going. So I recognized that I didn't have it. I didn't have it going on. I was struggling. I didn't know what I needed to do. I was trying to do all these things, balance being a wife, being a mother, being in ministry, having other businesses. And then I got connected to this industry. And what I recognized was they were going to celebrate me where I was, and they were going to push me and birth out something in me that was always sitting there. And so I was so excited about that I made a decision to become a professional. And what I've been able to do, guys, is take what we learned here and utilize it in every single area of my life. And I'll share a little bit about that. But I want you guys to hear from Sarah, because all of us have unique stories and how we got here. See, a lot of us thought that this was it. We thought that what we were doing was perfect and that it was going to be the thing that was going to take us to, our wealthy place, and we were going to have these fabulous lives. And then life had to come and punch us in the face and say, nope, that's not what it is. And so I want to yield the floor to Sarah so she could kind of give you an insight. And then we're going to share with you guys kind of what we're doing now, how we're strategically positioning women to win in 2023. And if you want to be a part of what we're doing, because we're going to get it done. We're definitely going to get it done. So Sarah, all the way from Canada, share with the ladies on here. We have, I don't know, over 100 women on our Zoom. We got women on Instagram. We got women still pouring in on Instagram. Share with these ladies, and I know you got such a powerful story, a little bit about your background and how you ended up here in this space.
Well, it's going to take a lot of, I never usually share the storm that brought me here. A lot of people think, how did you get here? What happened? And people see people having massive success and they think it just happened or it landed in their lap. And my story was actually a fight for survival. It was a fight for plan B. I married my best friend. I met him when I was 15. We actually started dating when I was 18, got married at 21, had kids. And he's an alcoholic, you guys. And I lived in what I felt like was a prison for years. He was a great man, but he had a problem. And oftentimes he would turn that problem back on me and say it was me, it was things that I was doing. And I gained a lot of weight carrying this heavy load. And I found myself in a place that we have those defining moments, and we have moments that define our life. And I
Right.
came to a crossroads, and I remember looking myself in the mirror and saying, girl, enough. You need to look after you. And so it was January. It was a new year, and I just knew that I needed to take back control. I needed to stop being a victim of my circumstances, and I needed to become a victor of my story.
Wow.
And so my journey began to wellness. I started looking after myself, and I found this direct sales industry by accident. It wasn't an accident. Looking back, it all makes perfect sense. But at the time, I didn't know about this industry, but I found products that I loved, and I started to share them on social media, and I found Wi-Fi wealth. And so my husband, as soon as he would pass out, I would work until like 2, 3 in the morning, because he didn't like me regaining my freedom. He didn't want me to get better. He was getting more bitter, and I kept getting better. And I prayed for him, and I prayed for him. And I continued, like, I wanted him to choose me. I wanted him to see that I was worth it, that our family was worth it. This went on for like 5 years, you guys. 5 years. And I actually became a marathon runner, and he helped me with that. And what I realized is, through that journey, it actually brought a lot of grit out of me. I learned to run through the storms of life, and I kept getting mentally more fit. And I kept building this business, and I actually built that business to over 17 million in online orders.
Come
And over
on, 17 million.
while he was out.
Wow.
He didn't even know what I was building. And we actually earned over $1 million in that company. And finally, this is going to get me in the feels, but finally in 2019, I had the courage to walk away. I left my best friend because I was done with all the empty promises of him getting better. And I left with nothing. Because I still wanted him to choose us. I packed the kids up in the car. We didn't even take a blanket. I was a hot mess. We got a place to rent, and I camped out for like 2 weeks, hoping and praying that he would know that this was it, man. He needed to make a decision. Weeks turned into months. A month turned into years. And actually, we were doing a Zoom because COVID had hit, and we couldn't all be together in my previous company. So we did a Zoom, and I don't know if he's watching today, but Rodney Foster was on the panel, and I was on the panel. We were on a GOAT panel, because I fought to be the greatest of all time, because it was like I needed to get a future for my family. And he said, everyone has a sad story, but what are you going to do with your life? And that was another defining moment. I got up after that Zoom, and I put my head down, and I ran with my life. I came out the following April, crossed the stage at conference, received the award of the greatest of all time. Meanwhile, I faced my husband telling me I was not worthy. I faced rejection. Our family faced rejection. I was picking up pieces, and I just kept going. As I was celebrating living my best life, I was watching my best friend die. He passed away in April. December is a heavy month. It was December of last year that he called me and told me he was dying. I'm just like shaking, you guys, because this is real life. And it's diamond time. You're going to go through life, and you're going to get cut, but you can win through the adversity. I don't give that storm much light, because all I focus on is being light and love. And I talk to my sons. I have 3 boys, 3 men in my life, that I will break this generational curse. I will make a life, a future, a legacy for them. And the man that I married is the man that I will honor by how we live our life. I placed a ring on his finger, be the light, because addiction robs people. But just like I said, everyone has a sad story. But what you decide to do with your life, how you turn that page, how you start over, you hold the pen. Nobody can take your tomorrows away if you decide to get up and do something with your life, do something positive. So I was saying big, bold prayers in August because life was literally continuing to spiral out of control. After my husband passed away, I had sons that were devastated because they were going through all the rejection. Their dad didn't choose them. Their dad didn't choose them. When he fell and broke his leg and we went into his home, he had not let anyone in his home for over a year and a half. All of our pictures were on the mirror, all of the love letters on the dresser. And there was only a trail through his house. The darkness that he faced, and that we had to just literally let him go because he refused to get better. He refused to get better. But I just held my sons close. And I continued to be a victor of our story. I continued to be light. I continued to be loved through facing death. We literally watched him drown. We literally watched him die. It was horrific, you guys, but we continued to be light and love. And I held my sons close and we marched. And when he passed away in April, it was difficult. And like I said, I was picking up all these pieces. I was saying big, bold prayers, and I was managing this multi-million-dollar business. And I was just feeling like I can't do it anymore. Over a decade, I was just like, I can't do this for another decade. And if one of my friends wasn't posting in his stories, what if you could hear about Amazon before it was Amazon? And it tweaked my interest. And like I said, we have defining moments and we have moments that define our life. And after saying those big prayers, I tell people, when you say those big prayers, big, bold prayers, the answer to your prayer is in the most unfamiliar package. But if you're paying attention, if you're aligned, if you can, so many people block their blessings, but God will put you in a place where you need to listen. He literally was putting me in a place where I needed to pay attention. And so I was curious. I messaged him, like, what do you got going on? He sent me this presentation. And I never thought that the answer to my prayer would be God moving me into a new vehicle, a different way of making money for my sons and sharing products. I never thought that would be the answer, but it was. I just knew without a doubt that this was from God. And so I just started, I resigned, left my previous company. Everyone thought I was crazy. How do you leave 40,000 people? How do you leave a multi-million-dollar business? I left because God told me to. And it was time to step into purpose. It was time to step onto a platform where I could impact more people. And these products that we're all sharing, I just locked arms and away we went. And we just started to literally run with this opportunity and the products. And my sons actually decided in October, they were ready to celebrate their dad's life. And I was like, oh my goodness, it was like thrown back into grief, thrown way back into what I just pulled myself out of. But we kept being love and light. And we actually blew through, I think, 4 or 5 ranks in this company. And we have, and I said in December is a heavy month, but I will let December be a diamond month.
Come on. Now, Sarah, before we carry on, you said you blew through a few ranks, how much, if you don't mind sharing, how much have you made so far? I mean, we've only been open, like 2 months, just over 2 months. But roughly, depending on if you're happy to share.
Yes, I've actually made over $23,000 to date. You can be a story. You can through hard times if you focus on being love and light. If you focus on being love and light and step into purpose.
Wow.
And be obedient God will mark your steps. And just 3 days before my husband passed away, I actually got the tattoo grace down my back. And I have experienced so much grace from remaining obedient. You're going to have to leave people. You're going to have to separate yourself from what isn't for you and move into what is for you. Every season, what he blesses the choices you make when you make the choices based on what God is aligning you to do.
Wow. Wow. Guys, I mean, how many of you like really touched by that? Like what Sarah has been through would have wiped most people out. Like, I mean, so we're not talking about years ago. This is like recent. We're talking April this year. And what this woman has been able to achieve through the power, I believe, of God and her mindset just goes to show that we can all do this. Like, Sarah, I know that, you know, you're still pushing through, you're still going through. But one of the things that I love about you is just how you adapt, you overcome, and you win every time. And I think that's the strength of a woman, that's the strength of a mom. And, you know, I'm so proud of you, but I'm also really blessed to be connected to you as well, because I pull from your, you know, your story as well. And, you know, just listening to you talk about like purpose, you know, for me personally, I've always been that girl on, you know, financial literacy. And even from the banking days, one of the things I always believed in and saw people coming in all the time with the addiction of spending, right? And you'd see people coming into the bank, taking loans, credit cards, mortgages, overdrafts, not to make investments, but just to live day by day because they're spending money on things that, you know, not necessarily was the right thing. And I remember when I was transitioning away from the bank, you know, very similar to both of your stories, I started to teach people outside about financial literacy, and the bank says, hey, look, you're teaching them our secrets. It's either you do that or you're going to be, you know, fired. And, you know, it's funny how I didn't know all of our stories were so similar in the sense where I made the decision, listen, I'm going to do this myself. So during my maternity leave, I had to get an exit plan because I had 9 months or I was going to lose the job, because I'm so passionate about, you know, I hate seeing, you know, especially, you know, people living from paycheck to paycheck, having the struggles, and we know the damage that it does, you know, staying with people because of a financial lack, being in that position. Right. And so, you know, you see the damages mentally when people don't have money. How many of us know the damages and the stress that we can't sleep when we don't have enough, when we're thinking that, you know, there's so much that we need to do, but not enough resource and all of these things. And so to find myself in, you know, 60,000+ pounds worth of debt, guys, I want to tell you ladies right now that I could not sleep. I was so stressed. And, you know, what the icing on the cake, you know, the icing on the cake for me was, you know, one night being in my house and my house gets robbed whilst I was there. My ex-husband stabbed right in front of my face. Wow. And ever since that time, I struggled to sleep at night. I don't know if you've ever had any traumatic situation, but all of a sudden, every little sound, I'm mega sensitive. I can hear things all the way down the road. And so all of this stuff happening, and here we find ourselves in a company that not only provides financial literacy, it provides products that help you sleep. And let me tell you, I have never slept so good in my life. I tell you this, I remarried, by the way. This isn't a let's talk about men situation. Men, we need you. We love you. I know the stories have been anti-men, but Angela, you're happily married. I'm happily married. Okay, we do love men. All right, I remarried, but I'll tell you this. One of the things my husband now has been stressed because I'd wake up in the middle of the night and I'll be like, go downstairs. I heard a noise. I heard a noise. And, you know, bless him, he'd always go down to check, you know, to reassure me that everything was fine. But since I've had this thing, this baby right here,
come on,
I have slept like a baby. And not just that, I mean, deep rested sleep. I'm not having anxiety. I'm not panicking. I'm not jumping up out of my sleep no more. And when I wake up, everybody knows me, I'm a night owl. So when I wake up, normally I haven't really finished sleeping, but when I wake up refreshed. I'm awake and I'm ready, you know, so fired up. So, I don't know about you, and tell me about your product experience. But, with the dreaming for me is something that has genuinely changed my life because of that traumatic experience. What's one of your favorite products here?
I would have to say, I mean, all of them are great, but my personal testimony is definitely got to be the B12. Like you, Nikki, like you, Sarah, a mom, busy mom, business owner, all those things. But just to backtrack a little bit, when the owner of this company, one of the owners, co-founder, owner, David Imonitie, gave my husband and I a call and said, it's time. This was a gentleman that my husband and I had the privilege of working with him over the last 13 years. I remember coming from a place of being frustrated even in business and making a decision at one point saying, I'm going back into the workforce. And I remember him saying to me, are you crazy? You're going to rob the world of your gift by going and sit in a cubicle? He knew I couldn't do it. And I thought to myself, well, it's easier to go and sit there and just get a paycheck every single week because I know it's going to come. Just do the work, show up, and I get paid. But he was a person that pulled me out of my comfort zone. And so when he said, he was going to launch his own company, let me tell you guys, it was a no-brainer for my husband and I. And what was so interesting about that, and this is why these products are just like unbelievable that he would even bring that to the forefront, was we had already been in a place from our previous company where we were feeling like, it was time for us to shift. When that's that time when you recognize that you've outgrown the space, the environment, the people, just everything around it. It feels like you're the one that's always got to bring the light. You're the one that always got to be the charge. You're trying to figure out, where do I get charged from? Women, you know what I'm talking about. You're the circuit breaker and everybody's plugged into you, but who are you plugged into? And we were feeling like we've got to get into a different place. And we were saying, okay, maybe we should go to Arizona. We had seen, God had told us Arizona, and it was like, oh, I don't know about that. Then we were thinking someplace in Orlando. When David said he was launching this company, immediately my husband and I heard the Lord say, go to Houston. Guys, we made a decision that people thought we were nuts. We had lived in South Florida for 22 years. We made a decision to sell our home in South Florida and relocate to Houston, Texas, to be close to the fire for what it is that we're a part of right now. And why we knew this was so key for us was because, one, we're not people that are flighty. Like, we had 2 kids. Our son is in high school. He's in his second year of high school. So obviously this is a big decision. Our daughter, family, friends, ministry, all these things. You don't just pick up and go just because. But we heard the word move. And when you hear that word move and you understand that when you get into the right environments, that's where things happen. That's when you know you're in alignment and you're absolutely moving in a direction to create generational wealth and build legacy. And we said, God, if this is for us, we need 3 things to happen. One of those 3 things was we need to sell that house in 1 open house. Guys, we did 1 open house, 4 offers, 2 overpriced offers, 2 cash offers. We knew it was time to go. We even had to ask the people for time to stay in the home because we hadn't gotten a home here yet. And then we said, when we get there, we got to find a home with all of these parameters. Every single thing that we wanted on that list was on that parameter. And then we said, we got to have these other resources to line up. Guys, when I tell you everything lined up, we knew that this is why we had to be here, to be a part of this genesis of what it is that we're launching. As Nikki said, we're only 60 days in, and the products are speaking life into people. For my husband and I, it was the B12 because we needed the energy to relocate from a completely different state, pack up a house of 22 years, leave the ministry, leave our children's school behind, and come into a whole new place where we had to learn the whole city all over again, ship cars, ship homes, ship houses, all those things. Guys, we needed energy. And it was that B12. It was that shot, because we don't take injections. That 8 sprays under the tongue that got us fired up where we could unpack, pack, get into the home, get our children ready, get ready to launch, get ready for the holidays, and still going strong. And the beautiful thing about what we have here, guys, is that you ladies on this call, I don't know who invited you on here. Some of you are already part of what we're doing, but I want you to really take a moment to just think about, could this be that thing that you've been praying for, to be connected to something at the beginning, at the very genesis of it? It's very seldom that many of us, that we get an opportunity to be at the forefront of something that can change our whole entire family legacy. And we get to be a part of something like that. So yes, we got these incredible products and they're going to speak volume for themselves. But that B12, I'm telling you, it was a life changer for my husband and I. And the sleeping for my husband, anybody who knows him knows he is the guy that gets up at 4 a.m. to pray every morning, 4 a.m. I've seen him sleep till 6 now because he's getting the night sleep that he normally needs to get. But he would get up at 4 because he's dealing with countries in Africa and UK where it's a different time zone. He's sleeping through the night and still getting up where he's fully engaged. So that's the beauty of what we have our hands on here. So I'm excited because I know there's 4 more coming. And I'm excited to I've been testing one of them, that fat burner. Listen, we like to cook in my house. The Crookshank, anybody know when they come to the Crookshank's house, they're going to eat. We've been taking that Crave and I've been testing that fat burner and it is working, ladies and gentlemen.
Angie, hold up. No, you can't just drop that one neatly like that. How are you testing the
Well,
fat
I got a
burner?
sample a while back and I was just like, let me just see how this thing is working out. And I've been like, and I'm not consistent with it. Now Sarah's working with me, so we get some consistency going. But let me tell you, I recognize even in just the 1 week that I was kind of like consistent with it, I could feel the difference because your energy is, you're feeling more, you know, you're more, what is it? Hyper, I guess, where you're like, oh my goodness, like what's going on here? What's going on is my metabolism is speeding up. And ladies, we know we're coming into the new year. What do we need to do? Sarah could talk about that because she is the fitness guru when it comes to what's been happening. I saw a picture of her the other day. I don't know if you could show it, but I asked her, I said, is that you? And she said, this was before even these products, but it has continued for her where she has literally reconstructed her body to what it looks like today. So you can talk about your product, but I know that's a great one.
I got a quick question for you before we go on to Sarah real quick, because you said so much there, Angela. I need to pull this part out because I don't know if, you know, some of the ladies didn't hear it right real quick, but you literally packed up your entire family and moved to a whole new state based on a word, okay? This is what you're saying. Now, what would you say to the women on this call right now that are in a position where, because most people would say, well, that is crazy. How did you make that decision? Like, what did your husband say? Like, what would you say to a woman right now that needs to make a decision that could sound crazy, that could be a complete shift, something new, you never lived in Houston before? What was the pinnacle moment for you that you would just pack up? This is like an Abraham movement and move somewhere else.
Well, for me, I recognized very, very a long time ago that one of the key things that a lot of us are missing in our success is being in the right environment and being around mentorship and having the right mentors and coaches in our environment. See, your mentor is your shortcut to your success. And what happens to us is because we're comfortable, we get into this comfort zone and we can navigate the comfort zone. And it's even our comfort zone is a lot of times is our broke zone. We have become so comfortable living paycheck to paycheck that has become normal for us. And so because we've been doing that and it's working, I pay this bill this month late, but then I pay that one. It works for us. And it's become comfortable, even though it's uncomfortable. I made a decision. I didn't want to be there. I didn't want to be in a place where I'm comfortable. We're doing well. We've made, over 7 figures in this industry with the last company. We're doing good. Life is happening. But what if I could get into an environment where I'm with people who I'm seeing they're making 7 figures a day, like I've seen the owner of this company do? What if? And I know that God is not a God that will put you in environments to allow you to see things if he wasn't willing to give you access to it. And so I recognize that access to information is what allows us to get to the place that we need to go. And I wasn't getting that there. I could have been in certain environments, but there's a lot of people, and you guys know this, they have all the successes, but they're not willing to show you how they did it. They're not willing to set aside time and energy and say, let me pour into you and help you to become greater than I was. And I saw that by being around the folks that was here in the Houston market. So my husband, we were in agreement. You got to come in agreement when you're in a household with a spouse. We were both in agreement at the same time, like this is what we needed to do. Even though most of the people around us was like, why would you do that? That's crazy. You guys are in your 50s. Guys, I'm 52 years old. I have no problem saying that because I know I look good. But life is not ended for me. So those of you ladies out there, well, I'm 50, I'm 40, I'm good. No, you're not. You're still living. There's still another level that you can go to. My husband is 62. You think he's going to stop now? He's outrunning some of these 20 and 30 years old because they're comfortable being uncomfortable. So we recognize that, you know what, we're still alive. We still got at least another 40, 50 years to go. Let's get this done so that our children's children will know our name. So the decision was very easy for us, Nikki. It was very easy. We spent 22 years and we hadn't done what we needed to do to get ourselves to where legacies are being birthed out of us. We've got to shift into a new environment. And here's one of the things we learned. Mike Murdoch said this, how do you say? He said, your blessing is in a place called there. Your blessing is in a place called there. Sometimes we're in here too long, and that's why we can't get the blessing to release. You got to figure out where your there is and then get over there. That's what's simple for us.
That's good. That's good. I hope you ladies are taking notes right now. That's so good. Let's see if we can pull up Sarah real quick. So Sarah, yes, talk to us about, obviously you are the health queen. Why is it important? Why did you, make a decision to obviously get healthy, and what tips could you give us? What products are you using that's really helping you?
Well, the delivery system absolutely was a pulling point for me. So I've been a marathon runner for years, ran 3 ultra marathons, 8 full marathons, so many half marathons, and I've taken a ton of products and I've used a ton of products, and I've studied the body a really long time. So the sublingual technology is the most effective delivery system, 93% absorption rate, but it's the body balance with these 3 products. Bringing the body back to balance by giving your body natural energy with not a lot of stimulants. A lot of people over caffeinate their system. So having natural energy paired with our Crave spray, which is BHB, allowing your body to tap into that stored fat, gets your body in a fat burn zone. And when your body is burning fat, your body prefers to burn fat, and then you get rid of the sugar cravings. You're not craving the carbohydrates. No matter how great your workout is, you cannot outrun the kitchen. And a lot of people, they have great intentions going into the new year. They want to get back into shape. They want to get fit. They want to drop the weight, but no matter how much willpower they have, they can't outrun those cravings. They're craving it. So our BHB Crave product is the bomb to getting your body tapped into that stored fat. And when you're tapped into stored fat, your appetite is MIA, because you can literally, your body can survive on your stored fat. And that's what you want to do, to shed the fat off your muscles. So I have been pairing the B12 Empowered Spray with Crave. I actually take them back to back, first thing in the morning when I get up, and then I take them 15 minutes before when I eat. And so before my workout, that energy is freaking bomb. So I ran a half marathon in April, did pretty well, under 2 hours, but I started these products and I'm 41. I ain't no spring chicken, but I've got my mile down to 7:30-minute mile for my speed work, 2 miles in under 15 minutes, and feel fabulous. But the shredding on my abs, I'm a mom. I've had 3 kids. My oldest son will be 20, So yes, my oldest son will be 20, my middle son will be 18, and then my youngest is 8. So to get my abs, I have goals. I like to be fit, but I like to look good too. When you feel good, when you look good, and your body is fit for life, you produce. Everything in your life, I believe, stems from how you feel and how you show up. So when your health is on point, everything else is aligned to that. Your body is your temple. How are you going to produce millions of dollars if you don't feel like $1 million, right? So important. And if you have millions of dollars, you don't want to feel like shit. You want to feel good to enjoy that life. So I'm a strong advocate into helping people feel their best. When you feel your best, you're just going to do your best. So these products and dreaming, I love the dreaming spray. It's been a changer for me. I don't sleep much because I love to, live a full life. But my son's testimony after his father passed away, it was hard, you guys. He was always a great sleeper, but he struggled falling asleep. And so he was one of the first ones I got on Dreaming. He started it in September, and getting the email from his teacher saying how much his concentration and focus had changed. And he has had straight 100% on his spelling since he started the Dreaming spray, his writing, reading, everything. So your body, how are you going to focus? How are you going to concentrate if you're not sleeping well? How are you going to wake up feeling rested when you're tired? You know, so these 3 products, it's so important. As much as people want to start one and not the other, it's important to give your body a balance. You know, get that natural energy, get tapped into your stored fat, and get proper rest so your body can heal, you know, and feel its best. So these products are absolutely phenomenal, and the results will show.
Wow. Sarah, you've inspired me, because this picture is a picture when I had my 6-pack, okay? And I look at this picture every single day. It's right here. And, you know, I've been taking Crave. I've lost about, I think it's 14 pounds in 3 weeks. All right, I've got a way to go. I don't have, the 6-pack is manifesting. But in 2 weeks, I lost around 7. And I'm gonna, you know, you can hold me accountable. I'm gonna make sure, but it makes you feel filled up. You're so right. It makes you feel filled up. I do want to give just a quick testimony around the whole financial literacy piece, because, you know, one of the things for me when I was in the deepest, darkest depression was money. Let's be honest. A lot of the time when you think about, you know, stress, depression, or, you know, whatever, at some shape or form, you can trace it back to a lack of money or resource in some shape or form. And one of the things I decided was that I was not going to allow my children, you know, my mom used to be stressed about money, my grandma stressed about money, and I don't want my children to ever have that same stress. And if you're a parent on this call, put a 7 inside the chat box, because what I've done for my family, and I advise you to do the same for yours, is every Saturday or Sunday, depending if we have an event, we are sitting down as a family going through that financial literacy course. Now, my children, 12, 6, and 4, you're learning about money. You're understanding property. You're understanding leverage. You're understanding the new technologies of the world. You're understanding what an overdraft means and why we don't just take money off a credit card, but we understand investing. We understand the difference between self-employed and business ownership. We understand, you know, how to buy low and sell high. You know, my biggest claim to fame is that I had £1 million property portfolio by the age of 21 years old. And that was not because I had loads of money from my family. That's because one woman in the bank taught me how to buy and sell. She taught me something called below market value. And you don't get those things, those information just off the streets like that. And so I'm teaching my children this. I'm teaching my children, and I want to, you know, I had a debate with somebody today around generational wealth and generational habits. And it's so easy to blame, but instead of blaming, why don't we just make a decision, all of us together? If every single parent said, instead of us teaching our children, you know, Pythagoras theorem, algebra, and all of the things, that I'm not, no shade, but how about we teach our children the real deal stuff in which they need in life? How many lives could we say? You see suicide every single day. What about if we taught them mental health? What about if we taught them how to love themselves, how to avoid addiction, how to be able to be stress-free? Why don't they teach those things in schools? And I'm very passionate. I've been screaming about it across, you know, London when I'm doing events in the UK. And somebody from the government heard me and asked me to go into prisons and teach the young men who are about to come out. And so now, you know, for the last few months, I'm going inside prisons. I never thought this would, you know, this company, this opportunity is opening up so many doors that I didn't even believe would happen. And why am I saying this is because you may feel like, you know, somebody else is called for it, or you're not the person that should be doing it. But there's a blessing on the inside of every single one of us that's not for us, that's for the people that we're due to serve. And so why not start with your household first? Because the more we teach our children, that's how we set up the generational, you know, wealth for the future. And so I'm so passionate about this. You know, it's so, I'm so what's the word? I'm very passionate, but I'm very intentional about making sure everybody understands how to manage the money that they have going in their account, how to invest. How many of us have Apple, right? We have the Apple phones, the same phone we take a selfie on, but how many of us have stocks and shares in Apple? Come on now, because we're so used to being the consumers. And you know, we want to get to a place where, you know, we're really about that bag and understanding investing. So Ange, any final sort of, you know, call to action for our ladies? How are we going to, you know, really move forward with this?
Absolutely. I think you said a mouthful there, Nikki. You know, as a mom myself with 2 kids, you know, you hit it on the head. My parents came from the Caribbean, came to America with the thought of the American dream. I know we got Canada. Sarah's in Canada. You guys are in London. In America, we have this thing called the American dream. And the American dream was the thing that was supposed to set your family up to live this incredible life. And so my parents came here, they didn't understand financial literacy like we understand it today. But we're living in an age where our generation is very different from the generation today is very different from the generation we come from. They're not going to be working for $20, $30 an hour when they can make $7,000, $8,000, $9,000 a minute because of the digital era that we're in. And so what we've done, what this company has done, is that it's equipped individuals to be part of what's happening right now today with technology. You know, I got a 16-year-old son talking about NFTs, doing an NFT. I'm like 16 at NFT. I wouldn't have known nothing about that. But this is what our platform allows us to do. So inside of having the products, we also have these services. And the thing I want every woman on here to take away is, what stream of income am I going to add to my portfolio in 2023? See, what I recognized years ago is that every multimillionaire that I've come across, they have at least a minimum of 8 streams of passive residual income. That means they make money in their sleep. When I recognized that, I made a decision, my husband and I, that we were going to do the same. We got ourselves up to 6. We got to add at least 2 more before the end of 2023. But we got an opportunity here to do that. You know, so whether it's selling our products, being part of the product side, or we have a whole digital side where you can learn how to have a digital online business, whether it be Airbnb or Turo or trucking, excavation, flipping houses, you know, financial literacy. We have so many things that we put in place to give you a game plan going into 2023. See, anybody who goes into 2023 thinking, oh, it's just going to happen, guys, you are delusional. It's not going to happen. You have to put a game plan in place, and you got to align yourself with people that's winning. Because I can tell you this, you can be as wet as a wet mat today, but if you get next to some women who are on fire, guess what? A wet log next to fire will eventually catch on fire. And that's why we said we got to do this call before the end of the month. We've got to make sure that these women know that we're here. Even though we have not officially launched this company, you're getting an opportunity to see a first mover's advantage with this. You've got to make a decision. What do I want 2023 to look like? Do I want to align with a company and some ladies and some guys who have a proven blueprint that they can help me to win? See, there's nothing wrong with saying, I don't know how to do it. We all were there. Sarah told you her story. Nikki told you her story. I told you my story. We are no different than any person on this call. We just made a decision that we were not going to do what we've been doing, because that's the definition of insanity, doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. You got to make a decision. And let me say this, you got to take a chance on yourself. Too often, ladies, we're so accustomed to clapping for everybody else but ourselves. We'll cook a meal and we'll be the last person to eat. We'll wrap gifts and we're the last person to think about what we got for ourselves. We'll go out and we'll make sure that everybody had a good time. And then we'll come back and we'll say, well, what do I want? We've got to take a chance on ourselves. And if you can't believe in yourself, borrow my belief. I'm not crazy to move from a completely different state to come here just to sit here to think, oh, this might happen. I know what's about to happen. And I know that each and every one of you have a unique opportunity to align yourself with some women, some men that are powerful and willing to see you win at the highest level. So 2023 is the year of miracles. And you are in position to get your miracle. You have a vehicle. You have people here that's willing to work with you to absolutely help you to get it done. And don't worry about what it costs, because here's the deal, ladies. We'll spend a good $200-300 on a pair of shoes that we know is going to hurt our feet, but we look cute. So whenever you make costs an issue, you've already made the issue bigger than what your problem is, right? So love you guys. Definitely, Sarah, any closing remarks you want to share with the ladies on the call before we go off here today?
What I can say is get ready, be ready, stay ready. You will never regret being healthy and wealthy. Don't leave your happiness in somebody else's pocket. I didn't know I would be a widow at 41 with 3 sons on my own. But here's the deal, you guys. There is abundance. There is so much greatness that is within you. And if you're not in a storm, the storm is coming.
Come on.
Be ready. Be ready. Don't wait to build your future while you're going through the storm. Have that future already manifesting right now. Now is the time. Do not wait to build your tomorrow till tomorrow. You need to set yourself up for success today. You will never regret building something for yourself and your family. I mean, I'm not saying you don't need, I'm not going to be a man basher, because my husband was a great man, but he was an alcoholic. That's, I didn't marry an alcoholic. I married him, but it robbed us of him. That was something that was out of my control. There are so many things within your control, and looking after yourself and your own personal finances is what you need to focus on.
Come on.
Let's go. So it just leaves me with one last question, ladies. Am I seeing you in Vegas in a couple of weeks' time?
You are seeing us in Vegas. You are seeing us in Vegas. And we hope to see a bunch of these women in Vegas with us. We still got a chance to get there. If you want to know how you can come to Vegas to meet up with some boss ladies, get back with the woman who invited you on this call. They also have a link they can show you, can answer questions. They can get you on calls with any one of us to answer any questions that you might have as to how you're going to do this. But we want to see each and every one of you win with us, because we envision you healthy, wealthy, and wealthy. Yeah.
Let's go. It's Freedom Friday, ladies. I will see you all very, very, very soon. See you at the top. You know why? Because you deserve to be there. And we will see you soon. All right. Take care. God bless you. Love you, Sarah. Love you, Ange. See you all soon.
Love you too.
Bye.
Bye.
All right, ladies. My